So it looks like jail, we're still muted. And do we have a defense attorney with us today?
Good morning, Rob. Yeah, she's coming right now.
And is this Mr. Pope?
Yes.
Is Mr. or Miss Perez joining us?
Miss Perez will be a part of the.
I had her first on my list. Thank you. Morning, sir. Tell me your name.
Hunter Poppy, Poppe.
All right. Sir, this is the time for your initial appearance on charges of first-degree murder and child abuse. You do have the right to remain silent on these charges. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney in this matter. Today, I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you, and you have counsel seated with you for purposes of the proceedings here today. I will let the parties know today that the court does not have access to the pretrial services reports at this time. I couldn't get access to any of their information on the website or log in. We've had IT working on it for a while now to no avail. So I just want to make sure that everyone is aware of that. So there may be times that I need to get hard copies of things to review this morning for recommendation decisions. Based on the nature of the offense, I am inclined to issue a bond in the amount of $1 million cash or secured on this case. I do see that that's the state's recommendation. Mr. Poppe, this is the time for us to set your conditions of release, and that's what we're here to do today. Mr. Poston, did you need to be heard further?
Given the state's inclination, Your Honor, no. Excuse me, court's inclination.
Defense?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Poppe has no prior felony history, and he has spent 23 years in Tucson. I'd ask for a reduced bond from the $1 million.
Sir, I am going to hold you on a $1 million bond today. That is going to be cash or secured. If you do post that bond, then you'll be released to pretrial services. If you do get released, you have to participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, and you're not allowed to have any firearms during the pendency of this case. You're not allowed to have any contact with the victim's family members in this case. Your next hearing date is going to be a preliminary hearing. That will be on June 16th at 1:30 in the afternoon. That date may or may not occur, but you are responsible for showing up at all future court dates. And if you fail to appear, a warrant could be issued for your arrest. If you remain in custody, the jail will transport you to your next hearing. If you do post bond and get released, it's important that you stay in contact with your attorney. Do you understand the conditions of release that I've imposed today?
Yes.
And do you understand the consequences if you fail to appear?
Yes.
All right, you're all done for today, sir. Just hand it to me and I'll figure it out. Thank you. Hi, ma'am. Tell me your name.
Nicole Figueroa.
Ms. Figueroa, you are here on 3 separate matters today. So I'm going to review each of these with you. Hold on a moment. So Ms. Figueroa, you are here today on 3 separate cases, all involving burglary in the 3rd degree that were committed on different dates. Looks like they all are through the Sarita Police Department. These are felony offenses. This is the time for your initial appearance, and we're going to set conditions of release on these cases. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney in this matter. I'm going to appoint the legal defender's office to represent you, and you have counsel seated with you for purposes of the hearing here today. It does look like you also have a probation hold, so regardless of what we do for this case today, or these cases today, you're going to be held until you're seen on that probation matter. I have had a chance to review the state's recommendation, some printed information from pretrial. I am inclined to issue a bond in the amount of $2,000 on each case. Mr. Poston, did you want to be heard further?
No, Your Honor.
Defense?
Yes, Your Honor. Given Ms. Figueroa's probation hold, we'd ask for a nominal bond to be set on each case for time credit purposes.
All right, Ms. Figueroa, I am going to set a bond amount in each one of your matters. So it's going to be a consecutive bond of $2,000. It is going to be cash or secured on each of these. So it's a total of $6,000. If you do post that bond, you'll be released to pretrial services. You're going to have to stay in contact with that agency. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, and you can't have any firearms while this case is going on. That'll be much like your probation conditions. You're not allowed to have any contact with the victims in these cases. Wherever those burglaries took place, you are not allowed to return to those locations. That's where the victims are. Your next hearing is going to be a preliminary hearing on June 16th at 1:30 in the afternoon. That hearing may or may not occur, but you're responsible for showing up at all future hearings. And if you fail to appear, a warrant could issue for your arrest. Do you understand the conditions of release that I've imposed today, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you understand the consequences if you fail to appear?
Yes.
Right, you're all done for today.
Your Honor, may I have excuse for the misdemeanors?
Of course. Hey, sir, give me just a second. I'm finishing up some computer stuff. I'll be with you in just a moment. All right, tell me your name, sir. Jail, it looks like we got muted on that end.
There won't touch it.
There we go.
Benjamin David Odell.
Mr. Bodell, you are here today on charges of assault and disorderly conduct. These are domestic violence offenses. This is the time for your initial appearance on these charges. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. If I release you today, will you promise to show up at a court date that I give you in the future?
Absolutely.
So at this time, I'm not going to allow you to return home or have contact with the victim in this case, who looks like it's your wife. Do you have somewhere else that you can stay?
I will take a look in the truck and the trailer, and some personal belongings, of course.
That's fine. I can check a box on your conditions of release that says you can return, but you have to do so with law enforcement. So
Understood.
what you'll do is when you get released later today or get a copy of your paperwork, you do need to either call 911 and sit away from the house somewhere and wait for police to meet you, or you can go to a nearby substation and take the paperwork that says that you can return one time with law enforcement to gather your belongings. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So, sir, I will release you today on your promise to appear. Your next court date is going to be June 16th at 10:30 in the morning. That's going to be in Pima County Justice Court. The date and time, phone number, address for Justice Court's all going to be on the paperwork you get when you get released today. As I've indicated, your conditions of release are that you not commit any further acts of domestic violence, don't have any contact with the victim in this case, or return to the incident location. You may return one time with law enforcement to pick up your belongings. Do you understand those conditions of release?
Yes, ma'am.
And if you fail to appear for that hearing on June 16th, I need to tell you that they could issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand those consequences if you don't show up for court?
I do.
Right, you're all done for today, sir.
Thank you, young.
Mr. Feldman, this was.
Hi, sir, tell me your name.
Kevin Scott Feldman.
Mr. Felderman, you are here on several different matters today. The first is a matter out of Pima County Justice Court for shoplifting and possession of drug paraphernalia. And then you also have multiple matters out of Tucson City Court pending, including a petition to revoke your probation. So we'll deal with that in a moment. As to the two new charges, possession of drug paraphernalia and shoplifting, you do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. I'm going to release you on this case and give you a future court date that you'll need to appear for at Justice Court. If you're still in custody, because I'm going to impose a bond on your city court cases. So if you're still in custody on the city court cases, the jail will have you appear via video for your Justice Court hearing. Otherwise, it's your responsibility to come to court. If you do get released, Mr. Felderman, you're not allowed to return to the incident location where the shoplifting occurred. That's where the victims are, and you can't go back there. Do you understand the conditions of release if you get out on this case?
Yes.
All right. Your next hearing is going to be June 16th at 8:30 in the morning, and that will be at Pima County Justice Court. Whenever you do get released, you'll get a copy of that paperwork, and it'll have the date and time on it. You do need to make sure you appear. If you fail to appear, they could issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand all of that?
Yep.
All right, now we need to talk about your Tucson City Court cases. Looks like you have 5 or 6 different matters and the petition to revoke probation and several warrants, it looks like, for failing to appear on some other charges that are pending. The petition to revoke probation tells me that on May 9th of 2024, you were adjudicated guilty of a domestic violence case or charge, shoplifting, and criminal trespass. You were placed on probation for a period of 18 months and signed written conditions of probation. On July 3rd, 2024, the state filed a petition to revoke probation, which was resolved in September. Probation was continued with a new end date of January 13th of 2026. There is now reasonable cause to believe that your conditions of probation were violated because you failed to remain law-abiding and provide proof of counseling to the court and also attend your review hearings. And again, there are additional failures to appear related to different charges of criminal trespass and theft, multiple, looks like 2 counts of each of those. I am going to impose a bond on these cases today. The bond amount is going to be a $500 cash bond. If you post that bond and get released, you're not to have any contact with the victims and those incident locations where the theft and shopliftings occurred. I am going to appoint the City Public Defender's Office to represent you. We're gonna set a hearing for you, a video review hearing on June 12th at 1:45. And if you remain in custody and don't post that bond, you'll appear via video. It looks like your case is assigned to Judge Blue. If you post that $500 cash bond, then you'll need to appear on July 22nd at 9:30 in the morning. And that will resolve all of your matters once you get to court on those. Do you understand the conditions that I've imposed on your city case?
Yep.
And do you understand the consequences if you post your bond and you get released on that case, that they can issue more warrants for you if you don't show up?
Yep.
Right, you're all done for today.
Sir, silence.
Those are all yours. I'm gonna hand modify this one. Thank you. Okay, well, he's been given that date for now, so leave it. Yeah, and hopefully he'll show up. Hi, sir, tell me your name.
Hello, Brian Rosales.
Mr. Rosales, you are here today for an initial appearance on domestic violence charges involving disorderly conduct. Looks like there's 4 separate counts of those. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. We're here to talk about your conditions of release today. I promise to release you, sir. Will you show up at a court date that I give you in the future?
Yes, indeed.
It looks like you actually reside at the incident location. Who do you live with there?
Pardon me?
You reside on the address on the Oak Canyon Lane address, and that's where this all happened, right?
Yes, that's where my girlfriend lives.
Do you have somewhere else that you can stay?
Yes, in Mesa with my mom.
Okay. So the other thing is releasing you today means that you're not going to be allowed to return to the incident location. Do you need to go back there to get any of your belongings?
Just my clothes. That's all.
All right. So it looks like Ms. Hernandez has indicated that she will have contact with you, but I'm not going to let you go back there. So what we're going to do, sir, is I'm going to indicate that you are not to commit any further acts of domestic violence. You can return to the incident location one time to pick up your belongings with law enforcement. When you get released today, you're going to get a copy of your paperwork. You either need to take that to a nearby substation or call 911 and have them meet you before you go get your belongings. Do you understand all of that?
Yes, I do.
All right. And as far as not contacting the victims in this case, you may have telephonic contact, not in-person contact at this time with Ms. Hernandez based on the information she provided. Do you understand that as well?
So only like phone calls left?
She's indicated that she is willing to have phone contact with you, so that or text, but because she says that she is willing to continue to have contact with her. If she changes her mind and doesn't want to speak with you, then don't keep calling her or bothering her. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, your next court date is going to be June 16th at 10:30, and that's going to be at Pima County Justice Court. Again, that date and time and address will be on the paperwork that you'll get when you get released later today. If you do fail to appear for that hearing, they could issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand the consequences if you fail to appear for your hearing?
Yes, I understand.
We're all done for today.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Salvador.
Hi, tell me your name.
Steven Salvador.
Mr. Salvador, you are here today on a charge of assault out of Marana. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. This is a domestic violence offense. It looks like you are on felony probation. Jail, are you showing any holds at this time?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
All right. So I've reviewed some information provided by pretrial services. Mr. Salvador, if I release you today, will you promise to show up at a court date that I give you in the future?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
The other thing is you're not going to be allowed to have any contact with your girlfriend. Is it Miss Coe?
No, I'm definitely my girlfriend. That's perfect. I don't want no contact with her.
So your conditions of release while you're out is to not have any contact with the victim. Do not return to the incident location.
I have one question.
Yes.
The incident with the location is at it's my mother's house. We've been trying to get this person out of the house, but she's not willing to cooperate. I have clothes there as well and some stuff. Right now I'm residing at my grandmother's house in the meantime, but I do need to get some stuff from the house, from my mother's house.
So what I'll do for now is allow you to return with a police escort so that you can get the belongings that you need.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate you.
So and it's just not having any contact with her at all. Sounds like that's not what you want, but if she's at that
No.
residence until you get that worked out, don't go back there unless you have law enforcement with you, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Right, so no acts of domestic violence, no contact with the victim, don't go back to the incident location except with law enforcement. When you get released today, you'll get a copy of your court paperwork. It's gonna have the date and time that you need to appear in Marana City Court. It'll also allow you to take that piece of paper to the Marana substation or call 911. Just make sure you're away from the residents whenever they meet you so that you can go get your belongings. You could have your mom, you can have your mom assist too if you want to, just don't have any contact with her.
I appreciate you, Your Honor. Thank you so much.
Do you have any questions about your conditions of release today,
No.
sir? All right.
No, Your Honor.
If you fail to appear for that court date on the 23rd, they could issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Right, you're all done for today.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Enriquez.
What?
Hi, sir. Tell me your name.
Good morning. My name is Mirka Enriquez.
Mr. Enriquez, you are here today on charges of disorderly conduct, criminal damage, and assault. These are misdemeanor domestic violence offenses. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. I've reviewed some written information provided by pretrial services today. If I release you today on these charges, sir, will you promise to show up at a court date that I give you in the future?
Yes, Your Honor.
You are also not going to be allowed to have any contact with the victim in this case. You're not going to be allowed to return to the incident location. Do you understand that?
Understood.
Do you have somewhere else that you can reside?
I can stay with an uncle up in Mesa.
Okay. Do you need to return to that address to get any of your belongings?
The salon?
Do you need to return? Is there anything that you have there?
At the salon, no, ma'am.
Okay. Is there anything that you have at his residence? Any reason that you would have to go back or have any contact with him in order to collect your belongings?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. This is also the time for your arraignment on these Tucson City Court charges. You are presumed innocent. I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on your behalf. As I've indicated, I'm releasing you. Your next court date is going to be July 8th at 1:30. That'll be in front of Judge Million in Tucson City Court. You do have to appear at that time. If you fail to appear, a warrant could issue for your arrest. They could also go forward with that hearing in your absence. They could set future hearings in your absence that include a trial. If you get convicted at that trial and can't be sentenced within 90 days, you'll also lose your right to a direct appeal. Do you understand all those consequences if you fail to appear?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And then again, your conditions of release. Once you're released later today, you'll get paperwork that has this information on it as well as your court date and time. Commit no acts of domestic violence, no contact with Mr. Cooper at this time. Don't return to anywhere he is living or working or the incident location. Do you have any questions about those conditions?
No, ma'am.
Right. You're all done for today.
Thank you.
Greenberg,
Hi, ma'am. Tell me your name.
Yvette Roxanne Greenberg.
Ms. Greenberg, you are here today on a charge of disorderly conduct. It is a domestic violence offense. It is a misdemeanor. This is the time for us to set your conditions of release. This is also the time for your arraignment. You're presumed innocent. I'm going to enter a not guilty plea on your behalf today. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. I've reviewed some written information by pretrial services this morning. If I release you on this case, ma'am, will you promise to show up at a court date that I give you in the future?
Yes, ma'am.
You're also not going to be allowed to have any contact with the victim in this case, Mr. Jolly. Do you understand that as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you living with him?
Actually, I just got back here from Prescott. I just moved back to Tucson, but we were living in Prescott Valley, and I was staying at the Red Roof Inn, but yeah, so I can stay. I don't live with him, no. I live with my mom now.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Is there anything at the incident location or his house that you need to go get?
I have a storage shed. Yeah, I do. I need to get it. He was supposed to drop off everything at my mom's, but I do have a storage shed too. So yeah, I'm gonna have to get my stuff. But it could be at my mom's already though.
Okay.
Some of it.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, ma'am, I am going to release you on your promise to appear. I'll give you a new court date in a minute. Your conditions of release are that you not commit any acts of domestic violence, have no contact of any kind with Mr. Jolly, don't go anywhere near where he is living or working or the incident location. I have checked a box on your conditions of release that allows you to return one time to retrieve personal belongings. So what you'll do is take a copy of the paperwork that you'll get today, either to a nearby police substation or call 911 and let them know what you're doing, and they'll meet you so that you can collect whatever you need to. Do you understand those conditions?
Yes.
Your next court date is going to be July 8th at 1:30. That's going to be at Tucson City Court in front of Judge Million. You do have to appear at that date and time. If you fail to appear, they could issue a warrant for your arrest. They could also go forward with that hearing in your absence and set future hearings, including a trial. If you get convicted at a trial and can't be sentenced within 90 days, you're also going to lose your right to a direct appeal. Do you understand all of those consequences if you fail to appear for your hearing?
Yes.
All right, you're all done. Thank you, buddy. Hi, tell me your name.
Blakely Mattern.
What's the matter? And you are here today for an initial appearance on charges of criminal damage and disorderly conduct. Looks like one of the charges is domestic violence related. These are misdemeanor offenses. We're here to talk about your conditions of release. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. This is also the time for your arraignment on these charges. You're presumed innocent. I am going to enter not guilty pleas on your behalf. If I release you today, will you promise to show up on a court date that I give you in the future?
Yes, ma'am.
You're also not going to be allowed to have any contact with your mom. She's the victim in the case, and you're not going to be allowed to go anywhere near where she is living or working. Do you have somewhere else that you can stay?
Like, how long is it going to be? I'll have to reach out and see if somebody will take me in, or I can go into a tunnel again. But how long about?
Until a judge changes that in the future. Your next court date's not going to be until July 8th.
So she's not going to have guardian. She's not. The guardianship doesn't matter right now. Then,
Sir, I'm not
if we're
allowing,
in
I'm not allowing you to
different
have,
houses.
I'm not allowing you to have any contact with her at this time. So you can work with city court and the judge to get that changed. But right now, that's going to be the order.
So, can I get my stuff from her place if she's not there?
Yeah, I will.
Or how will I know if she's not there?
I'm going to check a box that says you can return to get your belongings, but you have to go with law enforcement. That way, regardless of whether or not she's there, it doesn't matter. So you can return to get your things, but only if you're accompanied by law enforcement. So when you get released later today, you're going to get a copy of your paperwork, and your paperwork is going to have the box checked that says that you can return one time so that you can get your belongings. You do need to either go to a nearby substation or contact 911, call 911, and they will meet you somewhere, not at the residence, so that you can get your belongings.
Oh yeah, the resident. My belongings from here, like the shirt and the shorts. The paper they gave me said a hair tie and foreign currency, which was not just my shirt, my tank top, and my shorts.
I don't know. Whatever you have, sir, at the jail, they'll give you when you leave. So I don't know what that is. I don't have that
It is
information.
Okay.
Right.
The paper they gave me wasn't the right stuff on it though, and I don't have that paper. So.
Okay. So what I'm saying is you can return to where your mom is, where you were staying, only to get your belongings with a police escort. If you don't need, okay, if you don't need to go back there, don't go back. But if you need to, you have the ability to do that based on the court's order. All right.
It depends on how long because I just have one muscle shirt and a shorts. That's all I have.
Well, your next court date is not going to be until July 8th at 1:30. And so
that's like another month.
Right.
So yeah, I got to go back and get some stuff because I got nothing besides a tank top and shorts.
Right. And that's why I told you, I've checked the box so you can go.
Yeah, I'll go with the reinforcement. Yeah, yeah. You made it sound like if I need to. Sorry, yes. Okay,
Yeah.
I do need to. I thought that was a question.
Nope, not a question. You have that option to go back with law enforcement. So,
Yeah, thank you.
So I am releasing you, as I've said, under those conditions, no acts of domestic violence, no contact with your mom. You can go back with law enforcement to get your belongings. Your next hearing is July 8th at 1:30 at Tucson City Court. When you get released today, you're going to have that paperwork that'll have the date and time, also the address and phone number for Tucson City Court. You do have to appear on that date and time. If you fail to appear, they could issue a warrant for your arrest. They could also go forward with your absence for that hearing and set future hearings, including a trial. If you go forward with a trial or they go forward with a trial in your absence and you can't be sentenced within 90 days, you could also lose your right to a direct appeal. Do you understand all of those consequences if you fail to appear for court?
I will be there on July 8th at 1:30.
All right, you're all done for today, sir.
Thank you.
I'm not dealing with it. Hi, tell me your name.
My name's Tony Perez.
All right, so Ms. Perez, you were here on charges of prescription drug possession and drug paraphernalia. This is the time for your initial appearance where we talk about your conditions of release. This is also the time for your arraignment. You are presumed innocent. I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on your behalf. Jail, is there something else going on with Ms. Perez? Is she being held on other things?
No, Your Honor.
This is the only thing she has?
Seen last night, Your Honor. She was released on all charges last night, and then she had these additional charges, so nothing is holding her here.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. I was trying to figure out what happened between last night and today. All right. So I am going to release you on these 2 charges today. Will you promise to show up at a court date that I give you in the future?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I will release you. You're not allowed to possess or consume alcohol or illegal drugs while you're on release. Your next court date is going to be July 9th at 9:30 in the morning. That's going to be in front of Judge Hale at Tucson City Court. You do have to appear at that date and time. If you fail to appear, they're going to issue a warrant for your arrest. They could also go forward with that hearing in your absence. They could set a trial if you don't show up in your absence. And if you get convicted at that trial and can't be sentenced within 90 days, you could lose your right to an appeal. Do you understand all those consequences if you don't show up for court?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you're all done for today.
Thank you.
Mr. Reyes.
Hi, tell me your name.
Alejandro Agustin Reyes.
Mr. Reyes, you are here on warrants out of Tucson City Court for criminal trespass, 2 counts, and drug paraphernalia. Like there's a couple different cases. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. These date back to, it looks like February of 2023. The warrant was issued in November out of Tucson City Court. I'm showing a general delivery address for you. Is that still your circumstances, Mr. Reyes, or do you have an address?
I believe so, but I don't have town. You don't have it with me really. It's like at a yard somewhere on Cornwalls and Prince, and because I work for sorry about that.
Okay, so you do
Yeah,
have you do have a residence that you're staying at.
business.
Okay. So if I release you today, will you promise to go to city court and get these things taken care of? They're not going to go away.
Yeah, I can see how I go straight to work kind of and everything kind of like then my days got all mixed up together and kind of F me over. So I understand that part. So yeah, I have to get on. I have to get on it because it's not going to go away like you said.
Okay.
Your Honor, can I help here?
I'm sorry.
Your Honor, Mr. Reyes has a superior court rule.
Okay. So I'm going to release you on these charges, Mr. Reyes, but you are still going to be held because you have some felony charges and matters that are in Superior Court that you're dealing with. So I'm going to release you on these. Because you have other felony matters pending, I am going to appoint the City Public Defender's Office to represent you. Once you get released on your felony cases, if you do get released on those, your next court date in city court is going to be July 2nd at 9:30 in the morning. And that'll be the date and time that you do have to appear in front of Judge Verena. You're not allowed to return to the incident location. That's where the victims are, and you can't go back there if you get released. Do you understand, Mr. Reyes?
Yes, I do.
Oops, hang on. Your court date is actually going to be August 8th, not July 2nd. So I need to fix that. So August 8th is going to be your court date. What'll happen is someone from the public defender's office will be in contact with you, so you can talk about what's going on. The idea is that once your felony cases are resolved, they'll kind of track these misdemeanor cases along with them. So before that August 8th date, you should definitely have a meeting with your public defender from the city. All right?
Okay.
You're all done for today.
Thank you.
I forgot to check the box in the top that said he had a felony hold. Oh, thank you. Hi, sir. Tell me your name.
Mr.
Mr. Trisdale, you are here on multiple matters out of Tucson City Court today. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. Charges involve endangerment, threats, and assault and disorderly conduct. That was the domestic violence case. You also have a criminal trespass and drug paraphernalia case, and it looks like you have new charges that you were arrested on. Oh no, these are also warrants for drug paraphernalia and criminal trespass. This is the time for me to set your conditions of release on this matter. I am going to impose a bond today in the amount of $2,000. That is going to be a cash bond. If you do post that bond, sir, and get released, you're not to have any contact with the victims. Don't return to any of the incident locations. I'm going to appoint the city public defender's office to represent you. Your next court date is going to be in front of Judge Million, and that's going to be on June 11th at 1:30. If you don't post your bond and you're still in custody, you'll appear via video. If you bond out, you also need to appear on that June 11th date at 1:30 on your own at Tucson City Court. If you don't show up for your hearing, they can issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand the conditions of release that I've imposed today?
Yeah, I had a question. I just got a place and I just started a job, and now I'm gonna lose all that now.
You're going to have to talk to your city public defender, sir, so that you can try to get that resolved. But the bond that I put in place today is going to be the court's order as of today.
Yep.
All right, you're all done.
What's
Hi, tell me your name.
Roger Theron Weems.
Mr. Weems, you are here today on a charge of assault. This is a domestic violence offense. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. This is the time for us to set your conditions of release. This is also the time for your arraignment on this charge. You are presumed innocent. I'm going to enter a not guilty plea on your behalf. If I release you today, sir, will you promise to show up at a court date that I give you in the future?
Yes, I do.
All right. I've had a chance to review some written information provided by pretrial services. Looks like the victim in the case is your stepson.
Sorry.
Do you have somewhere else that you can stay that's not at the incident location or where your stepson is living?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So at this time, sir, I'm not going to allow you to have any contact with your stepson. So if you have somewhere else you can stay, you need to be apart from him until some judge in the future changes that. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. So I am going to release you today on your promise to appear. You're not to have any contact with Brett. Is it LePage?
Yes.
Okay. So no contact with Brett LePage. Don't go anywhere near where he is living or working. Your next court date is going to be July 14th at 10 o'clock. And that's going to be at Tucson City Court. You do have to appear at that date and time. If you fail to appear at that date and time, they could issue a warrant for your arrest. They could also go forward on your case without you and set future hearings, including a trial. If you get convicted at that trial and can't be sentenced within 90 days, you'd also lose your right to a direct appeal. Do you understand all of those consequences if you don't show up for your court date?
Yes, I do.
And do you understand the conditions of release that I've imposed here today?
On my own recognizance.
Yes, and not having any contact with your
And
stepson.
no time. Yes, ma'am.
You need to go back to that house 2 weeks.
I would certainly need some clothing and personal items, yes.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is allow you to return to that incident location one time with law enforcement so that you can get your belongings. So when you get released today from the jail, they're going to give you a copy of your paperwork. It's going to have the date and time for your court hearing that I gave you today. It's also going to have the conditions of release. There's a box that I have now checked on your form that says you can return one time with law enforcement to get your things. You just need to either call 911 or go to a nearby substation and let them know that you need to go get your belongings. You just can't go back without the police being with you. Do you understand all of that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, you're all done for today, sir.
May I ask one question?
Sure.
I do have a motor vehicle there that I'd like to pick up. Would I do that in the presence of the law enforcement officer also?
Yeah, anything that you want to pick up, keys, clothes, personal items, whatever it is that you need, including vehicles, you need to just get all of that stuff when you go to pick all that up with law enforcement. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you're all done for today, sir.
Mr. Wilson?
Hi, tell me your name.
Name is John Wilson, ma'am.
Mr. Wilson, you are here today for an initial appearance on charges involving disorderly conduct, 3 counts. These are domestic violence offenses and also a count of drug paraphernalia. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. If I release you on these charges today, will you promise to show up at a court date that I give you in the future?
Yes, ma'am.
The order of the court today, my order, sir, is going to also indicate that you're not allowed to have any contact with your girlfriend, Miss Adkins, at this time. I've reviewed some information provided by pretrial services, and they were not able to reach her. So that's going to be my order today.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have somewhere else that you can?
We don't reside together. We were actually at a friend's house.
Okay. So no contact of any kind with her until or unless that changes with another court's order.
Yes, ma'am.
Commit no acts of domestic violence and don't go anywhere near where she is living or working. Do you understand those conditions?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
All right. Your next court date is going to be July 8th at 1:30 in the afternoon, and that's going to be in front of Judge Millian at Tucson City Court. You do have to appear at that date and time. If you fail to appear, they could issue a warrant for your arrest. This is the time for your arraignment on these charges as well. You're presumed innocent. I'm entering not guilty pleas for you. If you fail to show up at that hearing on July 8th, they could issue a warrant for you. They could also go forward in your absence on that day and set future dates, including a trial. If they go forward with a trial without you and you get convicted and can't be sentenced within 90 days, you could also lose your right to an appeal. Do you understand all of those consequences if you fail to appear?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
All right, you're all done for today, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Cox?
Hi, tell me your name.
Matthew Cox.
Mr. Cox, you are here today on multiple misdemeanor charges involving criminal damage, disorderly conduct, contributing to the delinquency of a minor, endangering the health or welfare of a minor, and child abuse. These are misdemeanor offenses. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. This is also your time for your arraignment on these charges. I am going to enter not guilty pleas on your behalf. You are presumed innocent. I'm reviewing some paperwork, sir. Give me just a moment. So if I release you on these charges, Mr. Cox, will you promise to show up at a court date that I give you in the future?
Yes, I never missed a court date in my life, you know.
So I will release you. The other issue is, as of right now, you're not going to be allowed to have any contact with your brother. Do you have somewhere
That's
else?
fine.
Do you have somewhere else that you can live?
Yeah, I don't live there.
Okay. All right. So at this time, you're not to have any contact with the victim. Don't go to where he is living or working. Your next court date is going to be in front of Judge Verena on July 7th at 9:30 in the morning. When you get released later today, you're going to get a copy of your court paperwork that's going to have that date and time on it. It'll also have the address and phone number for Tucson City Court.
Appreciate it, man.
Do you understand all of the conditions of release that I've given you today?
Well, you didn't tell me if you were just releasing me on OR or pretrial, so do I just?
No pretrial. You're just being released on your own recognizance on your promise to appear at your court date. You just can't have any contact with your brother at this time.
All right, thank you, man.
I do need to tell you that if you fail to appear for that court date on July 7th, they could issue a warrant for you. I know you said you're going to be there. The other thing that I do need to tell you is that if you don't appear, they could go forward in your absence with that hearing. Also, future hearings. If you get convicted at a trial, which they could set in your absence and can't be sentenced within 90 days, you could also lose your right to appeal. Do you understand all of those consequences if you fail to appear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you're all done for today.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yes, come on. Have a seat there.
Hi, tell me your name.
And Durain,
Mr. Rain, you are here today on a couple of different matters. The first is felony charges involving murder in the first degree and child abuse. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney in this matter. Today, I'm going to appoint the legal defender's office to represent you, and you have an attorney seated with you for purposes of today's proceedings. We're here to talk about your conditions of release on this matter. I've had a chance to review some written information provided to me by pretrial services. I've also had a chance to review the state's recommendation as to your conditions of release on these felony charges. They are asking for a $1 million bond. That is my inclination. Did you need to be heard further, Mr. Poston?
No, Your Honor.
Defense?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Durain has no prior felony history, and she is a lifelong resident of Tucson. I'd ask for a reducing bond.
All right, Ms. Doreen, I am going to hold you today on a bond of $1 million. That is going to be a cash or secured bond. If you do post that bond, you do have to report to pretrial services. You'll be required to participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct. You're not allowed to have any alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms while this case is going on, no contact with any victims' representatives in this case. You have to abide by any DCS conditions should DCS become involved in this matter. Do you understand all of those conditions of release?
yes, ma'am.
Your next
Yes, Your
court date is going to be June 16th at 1:30. That's a preliminary hearing. That court date may or may not occur, but you're expected to show up at all future court dates, and if you fail to appear, a warrant could issue for your arrest. If you're still in custody, the jail will make sure to transport you to your next hearing. Do you understand the consequences if you fail to appear, that they could issue a warrant for you if you don't show up?
Yes, Your Honor.
We also have a justice court matter. Looks like there was a criminal damage case out there and they issued a warrant for your arrest. On that case, there is a $500 bond amount on the warrant. At this time, I'm just going to put a $50 cash bond on that warrant for you. I am going to appoint someone from the contract list for justice court.
I have the cash available to pay off that bond.
Well, you're being held on $1 million bond on your felony matter. So regardless of what happens on this case, ma'am, you've got to post that $1 million before you can get out.
Okay.
So I am going to appoint Amanda Bynum to represent you on this case. She'll be in touch with you. We're going to set a pretrial date for you tomorrow, June 6th at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That'll be a video appearance so that hopefully you can get that matter resolved as well. All right, any questions about that misdemeanor matter, Mr. Rain?
The $50 misdemeanor
Yes.
or,
Yep. You're going to be, I've appointed an attorney for you. That's Amanda Bynum. That'll be different from your felony attorney that you have on the other charges that you have pending. So what'll happen is you likely posting a $50 bond in this case is not going to do you any good because you'll stay in custody on the other case. So you're very likely still going to be in jail tomorrow when you're seen on this case at 1 o'clock. You'll appear via video, much like you're doing here today. Miss Bynum, your attorney, will be in contact with you. She'll also be present for that hearing, and you can figure out what you're going to do with this justice court case. All right? You're all done for today.
Hey, guys. Go around the partition, I've seen that touch it. Right there.
Hi, sir. Tell me your name.
Derek Francis.
Mr. Francis, you're here on a couple of charges, a dangerous drug, which is a felony, and also an indecent exposure count. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney in this matter. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, and you have counsel seated with you for purposes of the hearing here today. I've had a chance to review some information provided by pretrial services in this case. It tells me that based on the felony drug charge, you may be eligible to participate in the STEPS program. That's a substance abuse treatment program. It's a pre-indictment diversion opportunity where if you agree to substance abuse, if you're accepted into the program and complete the substance abuse treatment, then the state would not go forward with that felony drug charge against you. Is that something that you're interested in doing?
Yes.
Right. So what I'm going to do with that, I am inclined to release him to pretrial services. Does either party need to be heard further on that?
No, Judge.
No, Your Honor.
Right. So, sir, what's going to happen is I'm going to release you today to pretrial services. That means you have to stay in contact with that agency. You have to participate in any monitoring or treatment that they direct. You're not allowed to have any alcohol or illegal drugs, and you can't have any firearms while this case is going on. We're going to set a court date for you next week. That's going to be June 12th at 9 o'clock in the morning. That is going to be at Pima County Superior Court on the 3rd floor at 9 a.m. You'll have an opportunity at that hearing to review the contract for the diversion program if you want to participate. And then you'll meet with service providers right there in the courtroom that can get you set up for treatment. Your attorney will be there and pretrial services will also be there. You have to show up for that hearing. If you don't go on June 12th at 9, you won't be eligible and they'll go forward with the charges against you. Do you understand all of that?
I do.
Mr. Francis, do you have someplace that you're residing currently?
Yes, I do.
Okay. What I will tell you is when you get released later today, you will see a blue line on the ground as soon as you walk out of the door of the Pima County Jail. If you wanted to go to the transition center, which is a big white trailer with a blue sign, if you follow that blue line, it'll take you directly there. They may be able to start getting you set up with some treatment providers between now and then. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
All right. You also might want to give them your court date and they might be able to help arrange for transportation to get you to court if you need that. Are we willing to waive time for the PH?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So again, your court date next week, you have to be there. And then your next court date after that is going to be July 21st. So that's going to be a ways out. We're doing that to see if you're eligible to participate in that STEPS program.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you.
You do have to show up for your hearings, Mr. Francis. If you fail to appear, they could issue a warrant for you. Do you understand that?
When is the hearings?
Your hearing is, the attorney's going to write down the dates and she's going to hand them to you. Okay? June 12th.
12. Yes.
June 9 next week. Okay? You're all done for today, Mr. Francis.
Mr. Turner.
Take a right.
Hi, sir. Tell me your name.
Michael Turner.
Mr. Turner, you are here today on charges of armed robbery, aggravated robbery, and aggravated assault, temporary but substantial disfigurement. These are felony charges. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney in this matter. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, and you do have counsel seated with you today for purposes of the hearing. I've had an opportunity to review some information provided by pretrial services today. I've also had a chance to review the state's recommendation as to your conditions of release. That's what we're here to discuss. I will note that the state is asking for a $30,000 cash or secured bond at this time. The court is going to impose a $50,000 cash or secured bond. Mr. Poston, do you need to be heard further?
No, Judge.
Defense position on conditions.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Turner is employed full-time, and it appears that he has resided in Arizona and Tucson for a significant amount of time. We'd ask for a reduced bond.
So, Mr. Turner, I am going to impose a bond today of $50,000. That's a cash or secured bond. If you post that bond, then you'll be released to pretrial services. You are going to be required to stay in contact with that agency. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, and you can't have any firearms while this case is going on. You're also not allowed to have any contact with the victims, and you can't go back to the incident location. Do you understand all those conditions, Mr. Turner? Your next court date is going to be June 16th at 1:30. That's a preliminary hearing. That date may or may not occur, but you are expected to show up for all your future hearings. And if you fail to appear, a warrant could issue for your arrest. Do you understand the consequences if you fail to appear?
Yeah.
You're all done for today.
Right. If they got up. We're here to have a CPO.
Karen,
Hi, ma'am. Tell me your name.
Angelica Delfino Grijalva.
Ms. Grijalva, you are here today on multiple cases out of Tucson City Court and
Yes,
some
ma'am.
charges involving domestic violence, assault, disorderly conduct, and criminal damage. You do have the right to remain silent on these charges. Anything you say can and will be used against you. We do have a victim that is on the line with us. Can you tell me your name?
Yes, Your Honor. My name is Janelle Coronado.
I'm sorry, what's your last name?
Coronado?
Okay, all right. So, ma'am, we are here today to talk about conditions of release. I've had an opportunity to review some information provided by pretrial services. It's a report that tells me a little bit about Ms. Grijalva as well as some information on this case. It does look like you did not talk with the agency with pretrial services, Ms. Coronado. Today, we're just here to talk about conditions of release, nothing having to do with the underlying case. Is there information you'd like to provide the court?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead, as to conditions.
So, um, so my mother, Angelica Grijalva, was supposed to get sent to CRC due to her being manic depressed and having manic problems. We just got out of CRC a week and a half ago, and she came out that day to her dad, her brother dying. She's been having a manic episode where I was trying to tell the counselor I just wanted my mom to get help and to go to CRC because I love my mom and I just feel like I just think she needs help because she's mentally ill. And the incident that we did have is because she's mentally ill. I want contact with my mother and I want to fix this because, like I said, it was a misunderstanding that I wanted my mom to get help with CRC. Because she's a mental patient. She's not mentally here right now, right? Due to her loss of her mother 5 months ago, and then her brother died just a week and a half ago.
Okay. All right, Ms. Coronado, hang on. Jail, do you have any information on any other proceedings or whether or not if I release Ms. Grijalva, she'll go to the CRC?
Title 36.
She's also on court order treatment, ma'am.
Yes, of course, treatment, and I've complied with everything. I was there yesterday to pick up my medication. I have spoken to my nurse practitioner the other day. They canceled my fear for next week. I am taking my meds. I am cirrhosis sick. I am dealing with my mother and my brother's death in a very efficient manner. I am mentally ill and have been in the past, Your Honor, but I am taking it very, and I do love Janelle. She is my daughter, and I do appreciate her having my lookout. But I am in the best of care right now with Kodak, and also I'm going to now receive COPE. I talked to the lady this morning, and she's going to help me, and I think that I will be in the best of health. I am also going to enter myself in outpatient and possibly go to Haven. And I'm not doing any substance at this time. Too old to be young and too young to be old, ma'am. So I'm on my journey to do good. I'm going to do it for my mom and my brother. And if you give me a chance, I can show you that I can do a good job.
I'm going to give you that chance, Ms. Grijalva. Jail, did you have any information?
And I just want to know something. I'm going to have a power of attorney, which is Eric Sazueta. He will be taking care of all of my things. So my daughters will have nothing to do with anything. They cannot call CRC for any information at all. They will not be able to report me at any which chance. It will just be Eric Sazueta. And I do want that on paper. And I do want you to know that also, a judge. People calling and making miscellaneous calls.
So, Ms. Grijalva, I'm going to stop you today. What this court has to decide is whether or not you get released from custody today. So I need to ask the jail a question. Jail, do you have any information? Do you have anything from Title 36 indicating that if I release her today, she's going to be taken to the CRC first?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. So, Ms. Grijalva, I am going to release you on these new charges today. So the new The new charges are the assault, criminal damage, disorderly conduct charges. You have the right to remain silent on all of those. There's also some warrants out of city court for theft, criminal trespass, disorderly conduct, and shoplifting. But on all of these charges, you're going to be released today. I am going to give you a court date in the future. You're not to commit, don't commit any further acts of domestic violence on your
Okay,
other cases, wherever the thefts and shoplifting occurred. Don't go back to the incident locations there. That's where the victims are and you can't have contact with them, okay?
can I just go get my property from there, ma'am? I was living there with my daughters.
No, that's your daughter's not indicating that she doesn't want to have contact with you. So you can have contact with her.
Yes, I want to have contact with her, Your Honor.
I know. It's the other charges. So from before, not this incident with your daughter, ma'am, but previously, there were some theft and shoplifting warrants that were issued for you out of Tucson City Court because you didn't show up for your hearings. So those are the ones where you can't go back to.
Okay, ma'am.
Let me just make sure that that's not going to be the same address. I just don't want you to have.
Yes, ma'am.
But you will be allowed to return back to your daughter. Yeah, these are shoplifting and theft of goods. So that's not with your daughter, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your next court date at City Court is going to be July 7th at 9:30. You do have to appear at that date and time. If you fail to appear, they could issue a warrant for your arrest. On your new charges, this is your arraignment time as well. You are presumed innocent, so I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on your behalf for all of those charges. If you don't show up for your court date, Ms. Grijalva, in addition to them issuing a warrant for you, they could go forward with hearings without you there. They could also set a trial without you there. And if you get convicted at that trial and can't be sentenced within 90 days, you could also lose your right to a direct appeal. Do you understand all those consequences if you fail to appear?
I do, Your Honor.
Okay, you're all done for today, Ms. Grijalva.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a great day.
You too.
Good morning.
Okay, sir, hang on just a moment. All right, tell me your full name.
Donald Robert Harrington, 11/11/1993. It's not my original name.
Harrington, you are here today on charges out of Sarita for consuming liquor in public. It is a misdemeanor charge. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. If I release you today, will you promise to show up at a court date that I give you in the future?
Yes, ma'am. I'm always in compliance.
All right.
I got stabbed yesterday and I did a police report. The only reason why I had a beer was because I was in a lot of pain.
All right.
And I don't have pain medications.
Okay, well.
I was recovering from a stabbing.
I'm going to release you today on this charge, Mr. Harrington. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you got some medical attention. Your next.
I'm still in a lot of pain. It went all the way through the bone and everything.
Well, I will encourage you to get some treatment somewhere. You're going to be released on this case. So when you get released today, you'll get a copy of your court paperwork. Your next court date at Sarita Court is going to be July 8th at 8:30 in the morning. You have to appear on that date and time. If you don't show up, they could issue a warrant for you. Do you understand that?
Yeah. I can't go to trial. They found me incompetent to go to trial because I have cerebral palsy and severe cranial hemorrhage and brain damage.
So, Mr. Harrington, if you need assistance today when you get released, if you look on the ground, there's going to be a blue line. If you follow that blue line to the transition center, there may be people with either services for your medical needs or mental health needs, whatever you need.
here. I've been in there from my whole life.
Okay, well, again, I'd encourage you to go by the transition center. That's not anything I can order to you to do. It's available. If you, it's actually a white trailer, but literally if when you get released from jail, if you look down on the ground, there's going to be a blue line. If you just follow that blue line, it's going to take you right there. You can't get lost, okay? You're all done for today.
Around the position have seen on attention. So that's good. No happy for all what's going on. Morning.
Morning. Tell me your name.
Angel Tepote Cárdenas.
Sir, you are here on multiple matters today. You're here on charges of drug paraphernalia and criminal damage. Those are felony charges. And then you're also here on some city court matters for failing to appear and also a warrant out of Pima County Justice Court for failing to appear. Those charges are domestic violence related, assault, disorderly conduct, criminal damage, and preventing the use of a telephone in an emergency. You do have the right to remain silent on all of these charges. Anything you say can and will be used against you. For your felony charges today, you do have the right to an attorney. I am going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, and you do have counsel seated with you for purposes of your hearing here today. I've had a chance to review some information provided by pretrial services on this case. I've also had a chance to review the state's recommendation. It looks like they're asking for a $2,500 bond. Did you want to be heard further, Mr. Poston?
No, Your Honor.
I am inclined to impose a bond in this matter, given the numbers of failure to appear in warrants from other jurisdictions. Did you want to be heard, counsel?
I'd first like to make a probable cause argument on the drug paraphernalia charge. There doesn't appear to be information supporting the drug paraphernalia charge in the interim complaint.
Do you agree that there is for the criminal damage?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm not seeing information in the interim complaint at this time on the drug paraphernalia, as counsel indicated. However, there is definitely probable cause for the criminal damage charge that is a felony. So it's not this court's job to dismiss the drug paraphernalia. I'm not going to do that. The state can deal with that at the time of charging. The only thing would be my holding or releasing him. But since there is probable cause for one of the felony charges, I am going to hold him on a $2,500 cash or secured bond on the felony matters. Sir, if you post that bond, then you're going to be released to pretrial services. If you do post the bond and get released, you do have to participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, and you can't have any firearms while this case is going on. Your next court date is going to be June 16th at 1:30 on the felony case. You do have to appear at that date and time. If you fail to appear, they could issue a warrant for your arrest. You're not allowed to have any contact with the victims in that case. Do not go back to the incident location. Do you understand all of those conditions of release on your felony matter?
Yes. Yes.
And do you understand the consequences that they can issue a warrant for you if you fail to appear for your hearing?
Yes.
All right, now we're going to talk about your misdemeanor justice court matters where there are a warrant out for your arrest in that case. There is a $500 bond amount on that warrant. I am going to impose that $500 bond amount. That is going to be consecutive to the $2,500 because it is in a different jurisdiction. You're not allowed to have any contact with the victims or return to the incident location. The attorney I'm going to appoint for you in that matter is David Mize. He is the contract attorney that is going to be appointed. Your next hearing is going to be tomorrow, June 6th at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That is going to be the time for you to be seen on your misdemeanor matters. Do you understand the conditions of release in that case, sir?
Yes.
And then that you have a hearing tomorrow. If for some reason you were to bond out and you were not in jail tomorrow at 1, you're going to have to show up on your own. And if you don't, they could issue a warrant for you. Do you understand that as well?
Yes. I work with.
All right, now we need to talk about your city court cases. You have multiple warrants out of Tucson City Court for criminal trespass, criminal damage, disorderly conduct, drug paraphernalia, having drugs in a drug-free school zone, and another criminal trespass. You have the right to remain silent on those cases as well. I'm going to appoint the city public defender's office to represent you. Looks like your matter is assigned to Judge Blue. We're going to set a video review hearing on that case for you on June 12th at 1:45 in the afternoon. And again, sir, I'm going to put a bond on this case as well. That's also going to be a $500 cash or secured bond. And again, it's going to be consecutive to the ones that I've already imposed, the $2,500 on the felony and the $500 on the justice court one. It's a different court, so you can't have concurrent bonds. If you dollars on the justice court one, it's a different court, so you can't have concurrent bonds. If you do post bond and you get released, you also need to appear on that June 12th date at 1:45 in front of Judge Blue. So whether you're in or out, you need to make sure you show up for that city court case. If you don't, they'll issue warrants for you again. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right, you're all done for today, sir.
Mr. Perfaro. Mr. Perfaro. Christopher.
Hi, sir. Tell me your name.
Christopher Michael Perfaro.
Mr. Fafaro, you are here today on felony charges involving possession of a narcotic drug, possession of a dangerous drug, possession of drug paraphernalia, possession of a firearm during a narcotics offense, and being a prohibited possessor. You do have the right to remain silent on these charges. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney in this felony matter. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, and you do have counsel seated with you for purposes of the hearing here today. I've had an opportunity to review some information provided by pretrial services. That report tells me a little bit about you as well as the circumstances of the offense. It looks like you are on felony probation. Jail, are you showing any holds?
None at this time, Your Honor.
Okay. And it also looks like there is a warrant for you out of Franklin County, Ohio for a court case. And then you're on probation. I've had a chance to review information provided by the state. They're asking for a $2,500 bond on this matter. I am inclined to impose a bond at this time. Mr. Poston, did you want to be heard further?
No, Judge.
Counsel?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Fafaro reports that he is employed full-time and his friend indicated she'd be able to take third-party custody of Mr. Fafaro and help with transportation of future court hearings. We'd ask for release of pretrial services.
So, sir, I am going to impose a bond today. It's going to be a $2,500 cash or secured bond. If you post that bond, then you'll be released to pretrial. I know you're on probation. You're going to have to contact your probation officer if you get released on this case within 1 business day. You have to make sure that they're aware of this, and then you'll obviously need to comply with your probation conditions. You'll also be on pretrial, so you have to respond to them as well on this case, stay in contact with them. Participate in any monitoring or treatment that you're directed to participate in. You're not allowed to have any alcohol, no illegal drugs, and you are not allowed to have any firearms. Don't be anywhere near any of them for any reason. Do you understand all of those conditions of release?
Yes, ma'am.
We're also going to talk about a Tucson City Court case in a minute. I'm going to give you your court date on this felony matter. That is going to be June 16th at 1:30 in the afternoon. That hearing may or may not occur, but you're expected to show up at all future court dates. And if you fail to appear, a warrant could issue for your arrest. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
If you postpone and get released, it's going to be important that you stay in contact with your attorney so you're aware of any court date changes. Talk about your city court case. It looks like you have a warrant for failing to obey the police officer. It looks like that warrant was issued a while ago. June 30th of 2024 is when that warrant was issued. The offense occurred in June of 2024. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. I'm going to release you on this charge, sir. So if you post your felony bond, you'll be released. Your court date for this charge is going to be August 8th. At 9 o'clock in the morning. It's what's called a non-transport review hearing. If you get out of custody on this case, then you do have to show up for that hearing on your own. I am going to appoint the city public defender's office. They may be in contact with you on this case in the event that you do remain in custody. You do have to appear at that August 8th hearing. If you don't, they can issue another warrant for you. Do you understand? Is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you're all done for today. Hi, sir. Tell me your name.
Sylvester Miguel Insunza.
Mr. Ansuska, you are here today on charges of unlawful flight from a law enforcement vehicle. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney in this matter. Today, I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, and you have counsel seated with you for purposes of the hearing here today. I've had an opportunity to review some information provided by pretrial services. I've also had the opportunity to review the state's recommendation as to your conditions of release. They're asking that I impose a bond of $2,500. I am inclined to release him to pretrial. Mr. Poston, did you need to be heard further?
No, Judge.
Counsel, did you want to be heard in light of the court's inclination?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Enthusa, you're going to be released today to pretrial services. It means you have to stay in contact with that agency, participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct. You're not allowed to have any alcohol or illegal drugs, and you can't have any firearms while this case is going on. Do you understand all those conditions of release, sir?
Where do I pay the 2,500?
I'm not. I didn't impose a $2,500. I told you were released to pretrial services.
Oh, sorry.
So you have to stay in contact with that agency. You can't have any alcohol, no illegal drugs, obviously, and you can't have any firearms while this case is going on. Do you understand all of those conditions of your release?
Yes.
So you'll be released today, but you have to stay in contact with pretrial. Someone from the public defender's office, you're also going to want to stay in contact with them. Your next court date on this case is going to be June 25th at 1:30 in the afternoon. That's your preliminary hearing. That court date may or may not occur, but if they could issue a warrant for your arrest. That's why it's important to stay in contact with your attorney in case that date changes. Do you understand the consequences if you fail to appear? All right, you're all done for today.
Ms. Morales.
Hi, tell me your name.
Jessica Morales.
Ms. Morales, you are here today on a warrant that was issued out of Sierra Vista Justice Court, so Cochise County. Looks like it was back from 2022. There is a $5,000 bond amount on that warrant. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. I am going to impose the $5,000 cash or secured bond on this case that's being requested on the warrant. If you post that bond, ma'am, you do have to contact the Sierra Vista Justice Court so that you can get that matter resolved. If you stay in custody and don't post the bond, the jail will let them know that they need to come pick you up if they're going to keep you in custody. We're going to set a review hearing for you here in Pima County just to make sure that they have come to pick you up. That review hearing date is going to be July 7th at 9 o'clock. If for any reason you're still here, I don't see any reason that you should be here in Pima County Jail. But if you are, you'll appear via video, much like you're doing here today. Do you understand all of that, Ms. Morales?
Yes.
All right, Jail, you're not showing anything else on her, right?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, Ms. Morales, you're all done for today. Hey, sir, tell me your name.
Eric Barros.
Mr. Pata, you were here on multiple matters today. You're here on 2 separate felony interim complaints relating to charges of a narcotic drug for sale, dangerous drug for sale, narcotic drug possession, dangerous drug possession, use of a weapon in a drug offense, aggravated assault on a peace officer, another drug paraphernalia violation, resisting arrest, and drug paraphernalia. These are all felony offenses. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney in this matter. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, and you have counsel seated with you for purposes of these proceedings. I've had an opportunity to review some information provided by pretrial services. That report tells me a little bit about you and also the circumstances of the offense. I've reviewed the state's recommendation as to their conditions of release on these felony matters. Looks like they're asking for a total of $15,000 in bonds, $5,000 on the one case, $10,000 on the other. I am inclined to impose a $10,000 concurrent bond on these matters. Mr. Poston, did you need to be heard further?
Your Honor.
Counsel?
May I speak with Mr. Barra for one moment, please?
Yes, there's also going to be the other matter of the warrant.
Your Honor, Mr. Barra has no failures to appear in the last 2 years. He has spent 10 years in Tucson, and he reports that he is employed full-time. We'd ask that he be released to pretrial services for both cases.
Mr. Pata, I am going to hold you on a $10,000 bond today. That's going to be a concurrent bond. So the bond for both matters, that is a cash or secured bond. If you do post that bond, then you do need to report to pretrial services, stay in contact with that agency, participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, and you are not allowed to have any firearms. Do you understand all those conditions of release?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your next court date in this matter is going to be, and this will be for both your felony matters, is going to be on June 16th at 1:30. That's a preliminary hearing. That court date may or may not occur, but you are expected to show up at all future court dates. And if you fail to appear, a warrant can issue for your arrest. If you do post bond and get released, it's going to be important that you stay in contact with your attorney so that you're aware of any changes in your court date. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, if you don't show up, they will issue a warrant for you. Do you understand that as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now we need to talk about your warrant out of Nogales. It looks like it was a liquor sales charge. And it looks like they issued a warrant for you back in 2022. So what I'm going to do is release you on this one. So nothing's going to keep you being held on this. It looks like they, Marty, is that a court date? Tuesday at 10? July 8th for Eric Pata. Hang on, sir. I'm trying to work with our clerk to see if I can give you a court date or if you're just going to have to contact Nogales Municipal Court to get that taken care of. It says 7/8 on the bottom and then Tuesday at 10, but I don't know what that means. Okay. Okay. So what the clerk has told me, sir, is that, and again, I'm releasing you on this. So if you post bond and you get out, then your next court date is going to be July 8th at 10 o'clock in the morning. And that will be down in Nogales Municipal Court. I guess they do hearings on Tuesdays at 10 for warrants.
July 8th.
Yes, not till July 8th at 10 o'clock. Yeah. So I guess it's like the first Tuesday of the month when they do warrant cases down there. So that's going to be the date and time that you're going to have to appear. If you don't appear, they're just going to keep issuing a warrant for you. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right. You're all done for today. Released on this one, yeah. Hi, sir. Tell me your name.
Wayland Hatton.
Mr. Patton, you are here today on charges of possession of a dangerous drug and drug paraphernalia. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney on this matter. Today, I'm going to appoint the legal defender's office to represent you, and you have counsel seated with you for purposes of the hearing here today. We're also going to have to talk about a city court case and a failure to appear in that matter. Reviewing some information provided by pretrial services and looking at the nature of these offenses, sir, you may be eligible to participate in a substance abuse treatment court. It's a pre-indictment diversion program that allows you the opportunity to complete treatment, and in exchange, the state would not go forward with these felony charges. Are you interested in that program?
Absolutely.
Right. So what I'm going to do is release you to pretrial services. Does either counsel need to be heard?
No, Your Honor.
No, Judge.
So you'll be released to pretrial services today. You're going to have to stay in contact with that agency, participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct. You are not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol, obviously no illegal drugs, and you can't have any firearms while this case is going on. Your hearing is going to be next week, June 12th at 9 o'clock in the morning. That's going to be on the 3rd floor of Superior Court in front of Judge Hampson. At that hearing will be your attorney from the Legal Defender's Office, treatment providers from our community that participate in this program, as well as pretrial services. If you're eligible to participate, you'll get signed up there and be ready to go with that program. If you do not show up, you're not going to be eligible and the state's going to go forward with these felony charges. Do you understand all of those conditions of your release?
I do.
Willing to waive time for the preliminary hearing?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, sir, normally the state would have 20 days to file an indictment in your case and go forward with these charges. But since we're allowing you to participate in the STEPS program, if you're eligible, we're going to extend that time out to 45 days. So if you're not eligible for STEPS or something else happens, you don't show up, your next court date is going to be July 21st at 1:30. And that's the preliminary hearing. That date may or may not go forward. So it is important that you stay in contact with your attorney. Do you understand that if you don't appear, they could issue a warrant for your arrest?
I do.
Okay, so that's the felony matter. We now need to talk about your misdemeanor matter. I am going to release you on that warrant, but you're going to have to go to court and get that taken care of. Do you understand, sir?
I'll do just that.
It looks like it's something that stems from 2023, so you do have to get it taken care of. Your next court date at Tucson City Court is going to be July 3rd at 9 o'clock in the morning. When you get released today, you'll get a copy of your court paperwork. It'll have that date and time as well as the address and phone number for City Court. You're going to see Judge Maldonado on that day. All right, you're all done.
All right, next.
Mr. Merrill?
Hi, sir. Tell me your name.
Destiny Romero.
You are here today on a few different matters. We have a burglary felony charge and then also some Tucson City Court matters where you failed to appear. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney in this matter. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you, and you do have counsel seated with you for purposes of the hearing here today. I've had an opportunity to review some information provided by pretrial services that tells me a little bit about you and also the circumstances of the offense. I've also had a chance to review the state's recommendation on this case. They're asking for a $3,000 bond. Mr. Poston, did you want to be heard further?
No, Your Honor.
Counsel?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Romero has she has no felony history. She is a lifelong Tucson resident. This is a property offense, nonviolent allegations. We'd ask for release of pretrial services.
I do note the risk factors for failing to appear are high. It's a 5.
And in my defense, my grandmother will give me a ride to court. So
So the address that I have for you is on 23rd Street. Is that where you're staying right now?
yes, ma'am. It's my grandmother's house.
Okay. So if I release you to pretrial, you have to show up for your court hearings. You can't blow them off. It's not an invitation, it's an order. You have to go. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. I'm going to give you the chance. I'm going to release you to pretrial services. That means you have to stay in contact with that agency. They need to know where you're living and you have to check in with them. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. You can't have any guns while this case is going on. You are not allowed to have any contact with the victims. Do not go back to the incident location. Do you understand those conditions of release?
Ma'am.
Your next court date is going to be June 25th at 1:30. That's a preliminary hearing. That court date may or may not occur, but you are expected to show up at all future court dates. And if you fail to appear, they could issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand that as well?
I do, ma'am.
Because you're going to be out of custody, it's going to be important for you to stay in contact with your attorney so that you don't miss any future court dates. We now need to talk about your misdemeanor cases, failing to appear for 2 separate cases involving being in parks after hours, criminal damage, and drug paraphernalia. I'm going to release you on those cases as well and give you an opportunity to show up so you can get these taken care of. They are not going to go away. Your next hearing is going to be July 7th at 2:30. at Tucson City Court. When you get released today, you're going to get a copy of your paperwork, Branshaw, at that time. Again, if you don't show up, they're going to issue a warrant for you. Don't go back to the incident location. Whatever park you were at where you weren't supposed to be, wherever the criminal damage occurred, don't go back there. Do you understand?
I do.
You're all done for today. Hi, sir. Tell me your name.
Jeremy Turner.
Mr. Turner, you were here today on felony charges involving narcotic drug possession and drug paraphernalia. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney in this matter. Today, I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, and you do have counsel seated with you for purposes of the proceedings here today. We're here to talk about your conditions of release. I've had a chance to review some information provided by pretrial services. It's a report that tells me a little bit about you and the circumstances of the offense. I've also had a chance to review the state's recommendation as to your conditions of release. You may be eligible to participate in a pre-indictment diversion program, whereby if you participate in substance abuse treatment and complete the program, the state would not go forward with these felony charges. Is that something you're interested in?
Yeah, yes, Your Honor. And I got a question. And is it okay if I also go through drug counseling?
Yes, that's part of what will happen. So with your participation, Mr. Turner, your desire to participate, I'm going to release you today to pretrial services. You're going to have to stay in contact with that agency, let them know where you are. They need to be able to contact you. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol, have no illegal drugs, and you can't have any firearms or weapons while this case is going on.
Okay.
Your next court date is going to be June 12th at 9 o'clock in the morning. The attorney sitting next to you is going to write down that date and time. And when you get released today, you're also going to have it on your court paperwork. That is going to be on the third floor of Pima County Superior Court next week in front of Judge Hampson. You will, at that hearing, have an opportunity to meet with substance abuse treatment providers from our community. They're there in the courtroom, your attorney and pretrial services. Everyone there together so that you can get signed up and connected to services for substance use. You do have to appear at that hearing. If you don't, then you're not going to be eligible. They'll just indict you and move forward with the charges. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate that.
Time waived for the preliminary hearing, counsel?
Yes, Your Honor.
Right. So what I just asked your attorney, sir, is normally the state would have up to 20 days to indict you on these felony cases. But because we're going to see if you're eligible to participate in this program, we're going to extend that time out. So after your hearing next week that you have to go to, there could be a preliminary hearing on July 21st at 1:30, and that may or may not occur. A lot of it will depend on what happens at your hearing next week. But if you fail to appear for your hearings, they could issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
And if I complete the program, I'll be okay if I complete it?
If you complete the program, the state's not going to go forward with these felony charges. So essentially it's, I would say, a dismissal, but they're just not going to go forward with them. So it's a really it's a great opportunity for you to participate in treatment, but your first step is showing up. If you want assistance between now and then getting connected to services, when you get released from the jail today, there's something called the Transition Center. If you follow the blue line on the ground, it'll take you directly to a big white trailer with a blue sign. So just think, I get released, look on the ground, blue line, follow it. When you go there, there are navigators at that facility that'll be able to assist you and very likely can get you connected to substance abuse treatment providers even between now and the court date next week if you want that assistance.
Okay, and there's numbers I can call and stuff?
I would encourage you literally when you get released just to walk right over there and get it taken care of. You'll be out in time today. They're open, I think, until midnight. So whenever you get released, just go straight there and then you don't have to worry about calling. If you want to get a card or phone numbers from them, I'm sure they'll do that for you as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're all done for today.
All right.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Good day.